Hello, gentle viewers. This is Avindian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the St. Louis Cardinals. The Gas House Gang era Cardinals, who played traditionally considered from 31 to 34, won 3 pennants and 2 World Series. I have won 1 pennant and 0 World Series, so I'm well behind the curve there. I think we have a chance to do really, really well this season. Probably not well enough to go from worst to first, but I've seen stranger things. And if you've been following this series, you have too. But I do want to make just a couple of off-the-cuff remarks, and then I promise that we'll get going with the baseball action that you're all here to see. I really don't like the playoff system in baseball pre-1969. I think it was maybe justifiable when the leagues were smaller, but even 16 teams, only 2 teams making the playoffs is a really tough ask. It's a really tough ask. And it leads to dynasties, and I don't think dynasties are good for sports. And you can say, but Avi, you're a Cleveland sports fan. They've never had a dynasty. And I'm like, well, the Browns did in the waning days of the AFC, but I wasn't alive then, so I don't really have any stock in that. But I don't like dynasties. I think dynasties are bad for sports. And by dynasty, I mean anyone that's won more than, say, 3 titles in, let's arbitrarily say, like, a 5-year period. I don't like that. I find that very boring, and I don't think it's good for fans. Like, sure, if your team is the one that's the New England Patriots or the New York Yankees, you love it, and you want more of it because your team is the one that's winning, but it's really shitty for the other, say, 29 Major League Baseball teams. That one team just wins all the bloody time. And a larger playoffs mitigates that. Where, yes, I can have a team that wins 95 games year in and year out, like Cleveland winning a whole bunch of AL Central titles in a row, or the Braves winning a whole bunch of NL East titles in a row, or the Yankees winning AL East titles in a row, what have you. Take your pick. But once you get to the playoffs, everything starts over again. And that reduces the chance that one team can dominate to the point where fans of the other 29 or 31 or whatever sport you're talking about teams, they can feel okay with that. They can say, you know what? I don't have to beat the Pirates in this example. I have to beat the Reds, or maybe the Phillies and the Reds. And then I've got a chance to get in the back door, and then we see what happens. And you can argue that maybe sports take it too far. Maybe the recent Stanley Cup final between Montreal and Tampa Bay isn't very exciting. Because Montreal was like a mediocre team at best that somehow managed to make it to the Stanley Cup. And even as a fan of Colorado, I don't necessarily like that argument. I like the idea that once you get to the playoffs, however you get to the playoffs, if you win, it counts. I don't like this silly idea that sports writers and pundits and fans come up with that says, oh, sure, this team won a championship, but they didn't really deserve it. It's like, come on, dude. Making it to the playoffs is the point of the regular season, and then you see what happens in the playoffs. That's my take on that. Yeah, so I am full speed ahead. I want enough teams in the playoffs to keep it interesting without it just becoming like a seeding tournament. I think the current Major League Baseball play system is fine. I don't love wild card teams. I think maybe a 1-game series is where I draw the line. And I kind of wish they cut back to 154 games and then do like a 3-game series at least to try to alleviate the randomness. Because any baseball team can beat any other baseball team on any particular day. That's not necessarily a good a good a good barometer of how good a team actually is. But it doesn't bother me enough to say, oh gosh, I'm going to stop watching baseball. Speaking of watching baseball, that's the other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit because the Major League Baseball draft just happened, and I read a really cool story in The Athletic the other day. Actually, this morning, when I'm recording this on Wednesday, where they're trying to open up Major League Baseball to, or just baseball in general, at a program called Because Baseball in Egypt, with the goal of, if it's successful in Egypt, you can export to the rest of the Arabic-speaking world. Anything that brings more fans and thereby a better talent pool to the game of baseball is good for baseball. Hard stop. I don't think there's a way you can dispute that. That baseball would be worse off if more people played baseball. And I love baseball. I played it as a kid. I didn't like playing it as a kid because, well, I didn't get along with one of my coaches because he was my dad. But I still liked the game, and I've grown to love it as I've become older, and I started doing things like watching baseball a lot and playing video games based on baseball and listening to baseball on the radio. I would still argue that baseball is the premier radio sport, and I think it really is just a better, more exciting time if you listen to it on the baseball, or listen to it on the radio. Probably just something like StatCast or something like that, so you can actually see what's happening, like where pitch locations and stuff like that. That's really cool, and that's the thing that I think TV and the web does well. But this weird obsession with the commissioner, Rob Manfred, of all these crazy experiments, just because either A, some people are baseball dinosaurs that say, we want more bunting. Nobody wants more bunting. Outside of, like, Tony La Russa and maybe, like, a half dozen people whose opinions actually matter. I'm sorry. Bunting is stupid. Or we should ban the shift. Well, look. If you don't want your hitters to hit into the shift, give them coaching. Teach them to hit the other way, and then you don't have to worry about it. Like, if it's within the rules of the game and people start doing it, it seems like the immediate reaction these days is, it is bad and must be changed. Pitchers throw harder than they did in the past. We better stop that. Why? You want to make a player safety thing, okay, but I'm just going to say the only man in Major League history that was killed by a pitch was killed in 1920. And Carl Mays sure as hell didn't throw as hard as Aroldis Chapman. You can throw hard and still throw with control. Or, we need to make the baseball diamond bigger so we get more stolen bases. Again, that's not organic. That's catering to a very tiny minority of fans who basically wish baseball could go back to the 1980s. And, that's their personal opinion, but that doesn't mean that I have to want it. I want to see the game grow and do better. I'd rather see players take advantage of existing rules than change the rules every 3 seconds to achieve a specific result. Now, there's things that they've done that I fully support. In particular, number one on my list, we need an automatic strike zone. And you can say it takes away the human argument, the human element of the game a little bit. It's like umpires don't have tons of other things to do rather than policing the strike zone. That are more important and a better use of their time. Just do it. It works in the minors. If people get cranky, give them a way that they can air their grievances. But anyway, I'm getting off my sandbox and my soapbox. Yes, I was soapbox inside the sandbox. That's how crotchety I feel right now. And let's talk about the Cardinals of 1937. Last season was a bad year. And I wish I could claim that I was purposely tanking, but the truth is I wasn't. The truth is, we had a pretty solid lineup. Not a flawless one, but a solid lineup. We had a pitching rotation that certainly had its moments, but also could have been better, and a bullpen that was okay. We basically had a top half team in a time when being in the top half isn't good enough. And that's where we are right now. It's just not good enough. It never will be good enough. So we definitely need to make some changes if we're going to be a top tier team next season. And we have an incredibly valuable asset at our disposal. The number 2 pick in the draft. I talked about this at the end of last episode, but in case you missed last week's episode, or you just need a reminder, the OSA mock draft thinks we end up with Joe Gordon. And there is no contest whatsoever. If Joe Gordon is not chosen first overall, Joe Gordon will become a St. Louis Cardinal. He would give us the giant bat in the middle of the order that we've really desperately needed. Like, I don't want to say ding Johnny Frederick or George Selkirk or Bill Terry or Gabby Hartnett. But I think we haven't had anyone hit 30 homers besides Gabby Hartnett that one season since I've been their manager. I'm actually really curious about that. Do I want batters? No, leaders. Here we go. Because there not going to be that many single season home run hitters, right? Okay, we have had 0 St. Louis Cardinals hit 30 homers. 0. If we actually look at the leaderboards in history, many people have hit 30 home runs by this point. Not the least of whom, good lord, 700 homers for Babe Ruth. Is Babe Ruth doing it a whole bunch of times? But also, you know, down to Jim Bottomley in 28, Joe Hauser in 22. Until you get to Bill Terry in 1925 and Gabby Hartnett in 1929, no Cardinal is in that list. We need to change that. And Joe Gordon definitely has that potential. But only if he falls to us. If he doesn't fall to us, we have a very interesting discussion on our hands. And we're going to see what happens if and when that does happen. Other position-wise, man, Eddie Miller is so close, but I don't think he's close enough. But I think he's definitely close enough that I want to give him a shot to earn a job in spring training. Because hitting an empty 270 doesn't do anyone any favors. No matter how good you are defensively. And he was pretty good defensively. But shortstop, I need an upgrade at. Third base, I need an upgrade at. Center field, who the hell knows who my center fielder is? We just have a fairly old team. And we definitely need to try to acquire some younger players. The only starter that's under 30 is George Selkirk, who's 29, and will turn 30 before the season starts. So it's an old team. If I got a situation like the Cardinals again, I think I would take a suggestion that you had all made, which is actually letting them bottom out. We have a young rotation. Because I spent most of my higher draft picks on pitchers. Like Bauer and Vandermeer and Gumbert and Lee to a lesser extent. I've got Eddie Smith, who's probably champing at the bit to get into the majors. We've got young pitching. We don't maybe have top pitching, but we have young pitching. And Bill Lee would fix an awful lot of problems if he hadn't gotten hurt in 35. I think we're singing a very different tune. But let's find out what happens in the draft this season, because I think that's going to be... I'm not going to tell you with a straight face that Joe Gordon takes us to the playoffs this year. I don't think that's going to work. God damn it, Jim Viox. Friend, I'm going to try giving you $750 because I literally have nothing better to do with my money. Because I'm playing with Monopoly money. Yeah, this is a lie. I know I keep complaining of this. I'm so tired of this. This idea where you're going to lie to me and say that the problem is you're not making enough money. Look, I'll pay you $2,000. I've got the money. And I bet you he rejects it. And there's not a hitting coach in the major leagues that earns $2,000. Okay, actually, I take it back. My hitting coach does earn a bit over $2,000, but it's ridiculous for a rookie league coach. And if he doesn't sign with me, then that's a very clear sign here. Hey, Thief now won his first Gold Glove, and so did Selkirk. Good for Thief now. And by the way, the reason he won a Gold Glove just now is the fact that no other team trusted him to let him actually play at shortstop for more than a handful of games. Although he did play quite a bit with Philadelphia, he was never, like, a regular. So I definitely take all of the credit for that. I think Selkirk's already won a couple Gold Gloves. He has. He has. Okay, he finally signed the deal. I just had to give him a ridiculous salary. Whatever. Hey, reliever of the year for Benny Frey. I think that's the second time, isn't it? Yeah. Boy, I don't normally trade for relievers, but sometimes you trade for a reliever, and it works out real well. And the other two players I traded for him are retired now. Oh, highway robbery. I love it. Hartnett wins another Silver Slugger. Like, he's not worth his comically huge salary, and he probably won't be again. But we're getting consistent top-flight production from a key defensive position. And I know he hasn't won a Gold Glove. He's only ever won one Gold Glove, and I don't care. He's a good one, is our pal here. I wonder if Johnny Vandermeer got any attention in Rookie of the Year. Really? Not one person voted for him. Really? What was Johnny Vandermeer's WAR again? Okay, I guess it actually wasn't that good. I guess I'm focusing a little bit too much on what he could be, not what he is. So that's, that's a shame on me. Okay, winter meetings. The Chicago Elephants? What the fuck? Oh, it's an A-ball team. Got it. I mean, I kind of want to keep you. I kind of really want to keep you. I mean, you're probably pissed off that your hitting coach makes 5 times that you do, but I'm more than happy to bring you back. The Henderson Scarecrows want you to be a pitching coach. Oh, hell no. You're not going anywhere, my dude. I'm not taking a pitching coach of your caliber and letting him walk to another team. I love this aspect of the game, by the way. I really think they've made coaches a lot more interesting and more interactive in OOTP 22. What's available if I trade Ethan Allen out of interest? I don't need another outfielder, really. I'm getting a lot of people knocking on my door, but the problem is none of them are making offers that convince me that just having Allen being a super overpaid center fielder. And I like Jimmy Shevlin as a human being. I do. But he's never going to have a good major league career. I think that's asking too much out of him. I do think getting a solid first baseman is a worthwhile pursuit to store someone in the minors. But a commenter made a really great point. I could also just move Tony Piet to first base so we get Joe Gordon. Let's just move along for right now, and then we'll kind of go from there. We talk Hall of Fame voting. I always enjoy the Hall of Fame voting process. I'll vote Dave Bancroft. I'm gonna keep carrying torch for Johnny Bates. I know it's not gonna matter, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'll vote Art Fletcher. I'm not his biggest fan, but I'll do it. I'm fine with Bubbles Hargrave making the Hall of Fame as a catcher. A Guy Morton, you can't leave him out of the Hall of Fame, that's for sure. Not a player with them kind of numbers. This is ridiculous that Red Smith isn't already in. And I'll also vote for Fred Snodgrass. I really don't get why they're voting for Hippo Vaughn so hard. I don't see the appeal. Except for the fact that there's no relief pitcher in the Hall of Fame, which is fine, I guess. But we're talking about somebody who led the league, who was a really good starter for exactly 3 years, and then was converted to a reliever for no reason, and then just wasn't important anymore. So I don't see it. I don't see what it is that makes his candidacy so appealing, other than the fact that he's classified as a reliever, and so he looks like the best reliever in Major League history, rather than a mediocre starter, which is really what he is. Give me that stuffy McInnes, though. Anybody else with a really high percentage of the vote? Frank Allen, I have no objection to. Yeah, he only won 265 games, but I think he's earned it. Same for Doc Ayers. I think these are both players that would not cheapen the Hall of Fame. I think I'm good with this vote. Yeah, I think I'm good with this vote. I don't think I'm going to add anybody else. I just can't see Hippo Vaughn. I know why he looks as good as he does. Oh, Cy Williams. I always forget that I want to vote for him because of his home run totals. And because I think just because he didn't have as many hits. Like, for a peak career, this is pretty solid. I don't want to be the reason anyone gets left out of the Hall if they're deserving. It's like you barely qualify as a reliever. Almost 1,000 of your 1,600 career innings were as a starter. And you were one of the best in the game those 3 seasons. And then you went into being a reliever. And you were great at it. I just don't see how that gets you to the Hall of Fame, though. I can't do it. I can't. I'll tell you what. I'll make you all a promise. If he doesn't get voted in by year 10 and he's still close to voting, I'll vote for him then. That's what it's going to take to change my mind. I'm also going to throw some Leba Sam Rice. Because why not? Alright. Let's toss in our ballot. Alright, the tone of the entire season changes based on this draft pick. No pressure. Who is Boston's current second baseman? It's Marty McManus. I don't get it. I don't see how you can have Marty McManus and decide that's good enough for my second baseman. That's peak performance, and I don't want a better second baseman. I suppose let's just see what happens, right? But I have to say, you may be wondering what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get back so I can look at my scouts view. They took Joe Gordon. It was, yeah, that was OSA being stupid as shit. Okay, so let's break this down. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that are 51 out that are ranked 60 or better in potential. One of whom is a starting pitcher. My time with the Cardinals is starting to get relatively short. I don't really think Lanier is a good fit for this team. I don't think we need another starting pitcher. I think he's a great pitcher, and I think if I had need for a pitcher, I'd take him. But I really need an offensive force. That leaves me with Lou Boudreau, Benny McCoy, Sam Chapman, Oscar Grimes, and Eno Slaughter. It would be remiss of me to not start by looking at Eno Slaughter, who is Mr. Cardinal, along with Stan Musial and a few other players in Cardinal history. He is an outstanding outfielder with a terrific bat. However, we have to consider what makes the team better right now. And is he better than Moose Solters? Yes. Is he better than George Selkirk? Maybe. But he's not better by enough, if that makes sense. I mean, this may very well be one of these things that I regret passing on. I'm going to shortlist him just for my knowledge and gratification to see how he turns out. But I don't think Slaughter is a good fit. Sam Chapman is a good power hitting center fielder. And I like him a lot. But I'm concerned about his actual ability to play the field. And frankly, I need the help in middle infield more than I do in the outfield. Whatever... Oh dear, hang on. Here we go. Whatever my team's faults right now... I've got Harry Kraft. And Harry Kraft is probably going to be my starting center fielder this season. I don't know that for a fact. I think we'd be better served by upgrading at third base, second base, or shortstop. Let's focus on the three choices that remain then. Oscar Grimes is basically Willie Cam. But with a much worse glove at third. I don't like Grimes. I think he's not worth a first round pick. Certainly not pick number 2. Benny McCoy is intriguing. But he's got a very weird skill set. He's going to get on base and hit doubles. And play reasonably good second base while he does it. But Tony Piette is better than Benny McCoy. Right now. I'm not talking about 5 years down the line. I mean right now. Now, the question might be, well, what if McCoy improves his contact? Very fair. An entirely fair thing to say. But even OSA doesn't think too kindly of his ability to hit for contact. And I'm really concerned that hitting doubles and drawing walks isn't going to carry him very well. Then there's Lou Boudreau. Lou Boudreau is raw. But it's hard to argue he doesn't have the best overall talent of the remaining players. And especially with Thieve now winning the Gold Glove, I can take it easy with Boudreau. I can let him start the season in the minors and grow into his job. Also taking him triggers a chain reaction. It means... back to the Cardinals, please. It means Eddie Miller becomes a second baseman, which I think he's much better suited to in the future. It means Piette stays at second, with an eye to maybe moving him off of second. Heck, maybe have Eddie Miller learn how to play third. Although he doesn't really have a great arm. Maybe he wouldn't be a great third baseman. I don't know. Boudreau or Thompson? I think, or Chapman. That's who it comes down to, I think. It's Boudreau or Chapman. And at the end of the day, even a great big power bat like Chapman's. Oh dear. Boudreaux was a Hall of Famer in real life. But he was a Hall of Famer as much for being a manager as he was for being a player. Like, his 1948 season is the stuff of freaking legend when he was both the manager and the best player on Cleveland and won the World Series. And he won MVP that year, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Lou Boudreaux's in the Hall of Fame because he's a great manager, not because he was a great shortstop. But he also ended his career as a player at 34, and I think he probably still had more to give. Anyway. Chapman is power. Boudreaux was the better overall player, though. And I am reasonably certain that I'm going to get at least a decent player with my second pick. So I'm going to stop beating around the bush. I'm going to take Lou Boudreaux. Done. I would be an absolute idiot not to take Johnny Humphreys. To have a pitcher of his caliber fall to the second round is just... It's a gift that I will happily take, even over a guy like Creepy Crespi, which is a pretty great name. But yeah, I will... He's still here. We could take Creepy Crespi. No. He's a bad player. I'll take Sarge. I'll take Jim Bagby Jr. Oh no, Sarge was Jim Bagby Sr., wasn't he? I don't remember now. But I'll still take him anyway. He's still a good pitcher. And I'm not enamored by any of the remaining position players, really. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anyone else here that wakes me up in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and complete the draft. I think we made the right decision by taking Boudreaux. And I know I made the right decision by taking Humphreys. That's just... It's the easiest choice in Major League history to take a pitcher of that caliber. Plus, if Humphreys can improve his control quickly, he's going to have a quick path to the majors, which then lets me trade one of our established starters for a young position player, perhaps. You know what, dude? Have 10 grand. It's not my money. What would I like to acquire in the Rule 5 draft? Other than, say... Okay, game? There you go. Other than, say, like, a young reliever? Or not a young reliever. A center fielder? No, because I've got Harry Kraft. Who's probably going to be my opening day center fielder this season. And Frederick can can just be a nice bat off the bench. Man, I probably should have taken Slaughter over Moose Solters, but I didn't. I still think the difference between Thief now and Boudreaux is just so much better than the difference between, Slaughter and Moose Solters. Okie dokie. Artichoke. I'll work out who gets what in terms of spring training, but I'm looking for things that I could add to the team. I really need a middle infielder. That may be Eddie Miller. I may just promote Eddie Miller and make him my backup infielder. But maybe I can find a good one in the Rule 5. And I wouldn't mind a young first baseman that can kind of caddy for, what's-his-face? Bill, you're no better than Owen Miller, and you're way more expensive. Walt French, I don't need an outfielder off the bench. Man. I would love to get a captain on this team, because I don't think we have one. And I think that could be beneficial. Am I willing to take a guy just because he seems like a good dude? Friends, I think I am. I think I'm ready to take the plunge on a guy like Jimmy Shevlin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think I'm just going to call up Miller and let Miller fill that role. There's no reason he can't do it. I could bring back Pie Trainer if I need someone who can't play baseball anymore on my squad. I don't think Trainer's a Hall of Famer in this timeline either, but he's better than the real life one, so I guess that's something. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to take anyone else. I got what I wanted. All right. Guy Morton made it. Johnny Bates got kicked off. If you're the sort of person to do this, pour one out for good old Johnny Bates. He really deserved better. He deserved genuine Hall of Fame consideration, not just... He seemed alright. Whatever. Whatever. And we're just going to go up to the start of spring training. I just don't have anything else that I'd want to consider. Maybe trading a pitcher? But let's, before we even think about trading a pitcher, so let's assume for the moment that I hate the game constantly changing my scout. Thanks, game. Let's assume for the moment that... Oh my god, game. Would you freaking stop? Would you stop turning people into relievers? Stop doing it, please. Do not do it any longer. I will tell you when someone is ready for the bullpen, not you. And definitely don't do it with Jim Bagby. I mean, these are bona fide starters, and your obsession with making them into relievers is annoying the shit out of me. Alright, so spring training, guys. Definitely Eddie Miller. Eddie Smith. I guess I could give Boudreaux some reps in spring training and see what happens. And then, how are my relievers looking? Eldon Ocker is awful. Look, I'll give Baker a chance to get some reps in the offseason. So, there's the staff. I'd still probably make Tex Carlton a proper reliever, but I'm not. No, I'd rather have Carlton starting over Kennedy. You can be the stopper, and then you can be emergency starter. You know what we'll do instead? We'll do 6-man rotation, and we'll give Kennedy the 6th spot. That'll keep all the starters relatively fresh. Lineups. I mean, I don't agree with the batting order, but I do agree with the players, just not in this order. So we're gonna go ahead and sim. Shevlin, you have one job here. You are insurance. God damn it, game. You are insurance in case Ralph Terry gets hurt. That is why you are here, amigo. Could you not injure my ace like every waking moment that you can? It's not cool, and I don't approve of it. I mean, I really don't approve of a bone spur, but, you know, I can't stop them from getting bone spurs. I could maybe tell them, don't get hurt. Maybe that would help. Okay, so we need to get our roster set. And I have one easy decision made for me. You're going to the injured list. You're going to be back in a week. You might even be healthy by opening day. So I'm going to give you your shot. So I've still got 15 pitchers. I really need to get rid of 3 of them at a bare minimum. Bill Lee, I would like you to be pitching in the minors, please. I would like you to have an opportunity to maybe try to rebuild your arm strength and maybe make it back to the major someday. I don't think it happens, but it might. Ocker. If I turn you into a starter, do you look any better? You sure don't. I'm going to go ahead and waive you, and if someone claims you, they claim you, but I'm not going to carry you just for the sake of carrying you. Down to 13, I'd like to maybe get rid of 2 more relievers. Which is going to be Baker and... And who else? I guess Bryant? So, okay, I've got an 11-man pitching staff. Back to a 5-man rotation, and let's clear the staff. Our ace is obviously Johnny Vandermeer, even at his young age. Because he's been injured so much, I'm going to try to give him a pitch count of 90 pitches. I don't know if it's going to matter, but we're going to try it. Number one is going to be Bowers. I've got to give Bowers credit for being a consistently good starter. Carlton number 3. Gumbert 4. Kennedy 5. Eddie Smith, emergency starter and long relief. Benny Frey is the stopper again. Not closer, stopper. And then middle relief, middle relief, middle relief, middle relief. I do want Dietrich to be long relief, middle relief. And I want you to use Krikauskis a little more often than the other middle relievers just because he's got much better stamina. So this is our opening day pitching staff. And we'll see what works and what doesn't work over the course of the season. Lineup. I gotta drop down to... I gotta lose 2 position players. Obvious man is obvious that Boudreau's going to be one of them. And look, I don't need 4 mediocre center fielders. I'm going to trade... I mean, Frederick is still useful off the bench. He's still a really good hitter that we could potentially use. But I'm certainly not going to play Allen over Kraft. Just because Allen has the gap power that Kraft doesn't. So I'm going to trade Allen one more time, and we're going to see what kind of offer is made. Archdeacon can't play center. Not really. It's not even a question of acquiring a player. It's the question that Ethan Allen is just not particularly prized. So, who's on the trade block? Let's maybe look at it this way. Make a trade. Trading block. All players. I really don't need another hard thrower that throws a lot of walks, even if Allen's been very, very durable over the years. I just don't see a player here that I can get excited about. You know, converting Pat Caraway into a reliever has a lot of attraction for me. I think he'd be very good at it. And I could use another dominant arm in the bullpen. Like, I wouldn't let him start, I don't think, but I definitely would let him relieve. Can I get Caraway for Ethan Allen? Absolutely despises it. Okay. And you're wanting me to give away way more than I'm willing to actually give up. So that's a non-starter. Oh, you ended up with Eno Slaughter. I'm having second thoughts about passing up on Slaughter. We'll see how he does with Detroit, though. Yeah, I mean... Okay, he does take a demotion. I think that's the best use for him right now. And then we can revisit later on. Okay. So Miller makes the team. The two Eddies make the team. Now that you're both in the majors, I don't have to be setting you to a specific role. Because I can just control that. There we go. All right, my best all-around hitter is... No, this is interesting. It's either Piet or Bill Terry. And I don't know which one it is. No, I think Piet still plays best as a number 2 hitter, and I'll tell you why. Because Terry's got a decent amount of home run pop, I like him a bit more lower in the order. Probably hitting 5th, I think. Probably 5th, with Hartnett hitting cleanup. So the question is, who hits 3rd? Piet hits 2nd. Selkirk? Selkirk. I think Selkirk serves as our number 3 because of his batting eye. He's going to get on base, and that's the most important thing. No, it's got to be Terry. I think his ability to get on base with his batting average is just too valuable for me to not bat him 3rd. And then Selkirk can hit clean. I can hit 5th. Leadoff, we've got a couple of options. I could try Cam again and hope that maybe he bounces back, because he was really good at his job every year until last year. And then he just didn't hit. So the question becomes, what do we do with Willie Cam? Can I trust and be the leadoff guy? I really don't know. But I do know that Moose Solters gets on base at a pretty decent clip and hits lots of doubles. I'm going to try Solters as a leadoff hitter. And then Cam hitting 6th. We have Kraft hitting 7th. And then Thief now hitting 8th. Gus Mancuso is the backup catcher. Jimmy Shevlin is the backup first baseman. Middle infield backup is going to be Miller and Miller and Miller. I do want him starting once a week at shortstop. I think that would be very helpful for him to give Thief now a break and see what he can do in the majors. Stainback is backup in center field. Frederick is backup in the corners, I think. And then Swanson is honestly not that great. You know what? Swanson can't hit. And he can't field. I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll try to trade him first. Really? Damn, alright. Boy, would Maurice Archdeacon cure our leadoff man issues. He's even from St. Louis. I mean, this isn't even close. I'd much rather have Archdeacon than Swanson. Get ourselves a hometown hero. And then here's what that does. That lets me introduce Harry Kraft into the lineup much more slowly. So we're going to do Archdeacon in center, Kraft backing up. Archdeacon hits leadoff. Solters hits 6th. Because he can still hit right-handed pitching pretty damn well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy... Oh, no, I wasn't actually done here yet. Stainback is the backup to the backup center fielder. Okie dokie. Frederick is number 1 pinch hitter. I want him coming off the bench when I really need a big hit. Then I guess it's probably Kraft. And then Miller. And then maybe Shevlin. Pinch runners. I guess it's going to be Shevlin. He's going to be our number 1 pinch runner, and he's going to be terrible at it. No, he's not. Kraft is going to be number 1, and Shevlin can be number 2. Okay. Pardon me. Paste. And then Kraft is going to be starting against left-handed hitters, and then Solters is going to lead off. And I think this just gives us a better product on the field. And I know I said we were going to get younger, and then we got even older, but... oh, pardon me. But then again, we're really trying to win ourselves a pennant in the not too distant future, and I think Archdeacon gives us a better chance to do that than starting Kraft every day, especially since we need that really reliable leadoff guy. So we're going to see how this works out. It might not work out, but I think it will. Sim up to opening day. Vandermeer backtracked a tiny bit. Smith got better. Kupal is getting worse. Bowers is about the same. Hartnett is getting better, as is Terry. Okay, Boudreau is getting better, which is excellent news, but he's also a long way away from the majors, in my opinion. However, I was already kind of concerned about Kupal being a good reliever. I'm going to shop you around and see if anybody will give me something useful for you. Like a really good defensive middle infielder. You know what? Done. I will happily take a player like Sam Bone. Number 2 and number 7. Suck on that, jerks. And then what this does is I can call up Clay Bryant, who I think is going to be a much better reliever. And then, to be honest with you, I don't really need Stainback if I have Archdeacon, so you're going to be replaced by Sam Bone, who can then provide an extra backup utility guy at the different positions. And if we really need a great second base player, we can have him be our defensive sub. And I think that's just a better choice. And then Miller can focus on short and third. Boudreau I'm going to be watching incredibly closely. He's also super fast. He'd be a great pinch runner. Plus you can say Bone. Which is great. Okay. It is time for lay baseball. Let's see what happens this season. Boy. As great as that Gabby Hartnett trade was and some of the other trades we've made, trading Pat Malone has just continually bitten us on the ass. It's the curse that keeps on cursing. Any big player development stuff here? Whitey Moore's throwing harder. That's good. That's less good, Archdeacon. Humphreys is throwing much harder. That's going to make you an interesting pitcher sooner rather than later. It looks like nothing much has happened there. Alright, let us proceed onward. You're not. I literally acquired you for that purpose. To be a backup. Okay. Oh, it's Wayne Osborne. That's right. I've forgotten about him. You're kind of trashed here now, my dude. So I'm gonna waive you and designate you for assignment. I don't know how Build Terry keeps getting better, but I'm not going to argue with it either. Okay. Um, I need to see you continue to improve as a contact hitter. But we're gonna see what happens with you. Look, Benny Frey struggling is not a great look for this team. But it still looks like he's still competent. I think maybe we just stick with him and hope that he gets better. A bit. Oh, you know what? I never did give Clay Bryant a role. Here you go, buddy. That'll fix it. My pitching staff just really isn't good, is it? Johnny Vandermeer, you're nothing if not consistent. I'll give you that. We really need a top flight third starter. I'm starting to wonder if that person's already in my system and that his name is Johnny Humphreys. But let's check back in July, maybe. I mean, here's my issue. The lineup is going about as well as this lineup can go. Without the super big, super powerful thumper in the middle, this is as good as it gets. And I don't know how to fix my pitching staff problems unless it's just say give Eddie Smith a starting spot. I mean, here's our big issue. We have a bunch of pitchers who all don't throw strikes, but who strike out lots of people when they do throw strikes. We really need just a super durable pitcher who just comes out and pitches to contact. And that could well be Jim Bagby Jr. But I think we definitely need to keep a very close eye on Humphreys and Bagby. And I think these are our secret weapons, so to speak, in the pitching game. But we'll see what happens. Anything's possible. All right. have some pretty brilliant coaches in the minors that I think could probably use a bigger role, but Minovsky's done a really good job, so I kind of want to keep him. Not that this matters. I mean, let's be honest here. I could very well be keeping... I may not be able to keep myself. And then please sign... Mr. Chouinard, you've been such a good manager for us, but I kind of think we need to start pushing other people up. And maybe give you a chance to be a coach in the majors. I will keep Jack Ferry. Because he's pretty damn good at teaching pitching. I will keep Jim Pastorius because you're going to be taking over in AAA. Even if you don't realize that just yet. And then Ralph Works is pretty terrible. No, he's not. He's actually not the worst. I'll just bring him back because I'm lazy. And then, yeah, we'll upgrade at, in AAA. But yeah, friends, I really don't feel... I don't feel real great about my chances of not getting fired. Benny Frey, Gabby Hartnett, Bill Terry. It's pretty respectable. Man, look how freaking good Joe Gordon is already. I mean, I can't pick him if he's not there to be picked, but that's still... Imagine how sweet this would look in our lineup right now. We'd be in first place. For sure. Ah, well. You are not leaving St. Louis, you jerk. You are here for a specific purpose, and you will fill that purpose, and you will like it. Wow. What is with Lou Boudreau? Like, it's not like he's getting overmatched. He's just not improving. Let me get a scouting report on you. A scouting report on me, on you, my dude. I don't care. See, look at that. I scout him again, and all of a sudden he looks really damn good. Okay. This is what I thought I was getting when I drafted him. Is it time? It's freaking time. Let's freaking go. I'm calling him up right now. You may be saying, Avi, why are you rushing him? It's because I don't want to get fired. Plus, Sam Bone is on my nerves anyway. Ooh, I could bring in Jim Bottomley, but he is a shadow of his former self. I'll take this garbage tier catcher. Alright, let's do this. Archdeacon is making this lineup work super well. I guess I'm just going to slot him in at 7th for right now, but with an eye to probably promoting him very, very soon. And this means that Thieve now can then be my backup for short and third. Man, there is some kind of curse lately where every time somebody wins a gold glove for me, I bench them. It's not intentional. It's really not. But that's just, it just be like that sometimes. Thief now at short. And third. Perfect. Fair. Look, is there a big time player that I might want to add here? Like a good third starter? Look, you're not going to give me Monty Stratton, right? That's probably a waste of time, but I will. Yeah. Had to try. Um. Damn. You know I missed? Oh, this is a different Chapman. That's Sam Chapman is the other guy. I'm just gonna pull this deal. It's not that beneficial to keep him just for the sake of keeping him. I'll go up to the trading deadline. Look, let's face it, I'm not making the playoffs this season. I'm just not. This is a season to see what can happen. And to see if adding Boudreaux lets me keep my job. It probably doesn't. Although I think it should, it probably doesn't. And we're gonna have to see what happens as time progresses. Because even if we go on the tear to end all tears, man, quit getting injured, jerks. We don't make the playoffs this season. The best we can do is hope these youngsters keep getting a little better and a little better and a little better. And that we can maybe make another leap forward next season. I'm already telling you, Jim Bagby Jr. probably should get his bags packed for a spot on the Major League rotation. Yeah, Gumbert, you suck. You just get blasted. Kennedy's not much better. So yeah, if St. Louis, if the owner brings me back, I replace Kennedy and Gumbert with some combination of Smith, Bagby, and Humphreys, and maybe another starter. And all of a sudden, our pitching staff looks mighty good. I mean, Benny Frey has been incredible, but he's also, like, not that good. But he's whatever for what he does. Bullpen could use an upgrade too. Um, I don't care. Thieve now. That was random. Tax Carlton. Just get a random shutout just to learn him good. There is no one important in this draft. I'm joking. Um, could you imagine for even one split second how fucking incredible it would be to have Ted Williams on this team? Man, Charlie Keller ain't no freaking consolation prize either. But look, most importantly, oh, no, 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 no. This is the wrong draft. This was last season's draft. Because I think my actual pick. Man, we started playing good toward the end of the season. Poop. Well. Enjoy Ted Williams, Chicago Cubs. Oh, man. If I would have known Ted Williams was in this draft, I might have even not signed Boudreaux. That's a lie. I like Boudreaux a lot. I'm feeling as soon as I'm done simming the playoffs, I'm going to get fired. So let's enjoy what we have until then. George Selkirk, big season. Bill Terry, he doesn't need to age. He's fine. Aging is for losers. Moose Solters was really given a big role this season and really proved that he deserved it. Gabby Hartnett keeps doing Gabby Hartnett things. Willie Cam had a very nice little bounce back season. In 300 at bats, Lou Boudreaux has proven he belongs in the big leagues. Excited to see how he does next season. A bit of a dip for Piet. Not so much his bat as just the rest of his game. Just slid just the ever so slightest bit. Although he wasn't a great second baseman. Archdeacon, my dude. I know you were a dumpster fire in the field, but you really made our offense work this season. So I am indebted to you for that. A lot of things could have gone better, but a lot of things also could have gone worse. Bowers was incredible. Vandermeer really took a step forward by striking out more and walking less. Carlton ended up being really productive. I think a lot of it is just better luck between these two seasons because there's not a whole lot else in his peripherals that's changed. Kakauskis is probably making a case to be a great reliever, and then our fourth and fifth starters sucked. Eddie Smith was kind of a non-factor, but he also didn't really get a chance to prove that he could be a factor. So it might be something to give him a shot at next season. And Bill Dietrich made our team worse. So that's fun. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that man who throws junk innings pitches like junk, but yikes. Anyway, let's see if I get shit canned. I didn't get shit canned. I frankly don't know how I didn't get fired. But I'm kind of intrigued. that I didn't get fired, and I'm wondering if we can add a big name player in this draft. Boy. I would trade an awful lot to be able to trade up and grab Ted Williams. Or Charlie Keller. Or maybe not Barney McCoskey so much. This is a good, deep draft, though. Look, we've got amazing starters like Hal Newhouser, Dizzy Trout, Fred Hutchinson, Marius Russo. We've got Bob Elliott. He'd look mighty nice at the hot corner or in right field. Chet Ross. Didn't Chet Ross play for Detroit? No, he played for Boston. Chet Lemon is the one who played for Detroit. What the heck's wrong with me? Early Win, Hall of Famer. A bit farther down the lineup, but still very impressive. Mickey Vernon. A possible good, young, long-term first baseman. So we're going to see what happens in this next draft, and if we can't pick up another player or two to help push us over the top. Good season. I am not upset about how this season went. We got better by 14 games. That's a pretty big turnaround. And we'll just see how Lou Boudreau does. And maybe make some other moves as well. But that is it for this episode. Please do share who you think I ought to draft if they're available. The mock draft says I'll get Chet Ross. I wouldn't say no to that. He's maybe not my ideal player, but I wouldn't say no to him. In all honesty, though, I'd probably take one of these starters if they fell to me, like Dizzy Trout. But we'll see what happens. Until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.